Hi, my name's Candace. I'm going to be doing the new moon in Scorpio video for you guys, or reading for you guys. And how I decided to do it is I'm going to split it up by signs. I was thinking I was going to do the water signs first, just because, it is kind of Scorpio season. So, I decided to do a poll on it, and water signs still came out first. So the water signs will be first, air will be second, fire signs will be third, and earth signs will be last. However, I don't know how much it's going to matter because they may all be posted at the same time. I'm not sure. But if they're not, that's how it's going to go. I'm just going to look off a list just to get some things out of the way before I start the reading. I hope everybody is enjoying November. The full moon just passed, which is in Taurus. I very much enjoyed that full moon because I am a Taurus sun, Gemini moon, and I have Leo rising, and my Venus is in Pisces. So it was very like home to me. It was weird because I actually had like a revelation because I've been going through a lot myself. I'm in the middle of going through a spiritual awakening, so I've been feeling all these other energies, all these changes, not really like myself in a long time. And I was just commenting how kind of at peace and how calmed I was, and it was like for the first time I had felt like myself in a long time again. And it was nice to feel because, it's one of those times, it's kind of like an aha moment, but you think it's kind of like what I call like a duh thing. Like you should be like, it's to take it for granted. You should know that. But sometimes you forget the most simple things in life. And I realized with it how long it had been since I felt my own energy, just because of how much I've been going through and how many changes and evolving and challenges and all the other energies from the other moons. How much I really love my own energy, and how much I took it for granted for years, and always looked outside of myself to feel at home and complete. And it was kind of that moment where I realized like it was in me all along. So although I do appreciate the other moons and the other energies that really help me, they're helping me evolve and change and kind of not be so stagnant and so just focused in a not good way. But at the same time, bringing it back around really has just kind of reconfirmed to me how much going within kind of brings you everything that people are looking for anyways, or the things people are looking for. It's within yourself. It's actually your own energy. It's just people take it for granted. And I don't know, I just wanted to say that. So keep in mind the energies that come around, because it was something I really didn't think of until I was actually enjoying my own energy. I didn't realize how much I didn't feel like myself for a while until it came back around, and I'm like, oh, this is familiar. This is nice. So I just wanted to say that. So the full moon was in Taurus, which is about releasing. So it makes room for energies in your life also, so that energies can come in with the new moon for planting seeds and manifestations and just where your energy is going to go, because it's all about a journey. It's all about what you're going to do, what you're going to do next, and the moons help you with that. And it's hard sometimes to manifest or bring new things in when you have a bunch of things that you need to let go of and they're really not working for you. So I'm not really going to get too much into the Taurus full moon, but I know for me at least, it really, I think, helped ground me for what's possibly gonna come for the Scorpio new moon. They're both intense signs. They are opposite signs. So they have a lot of likes, but they have a lot of differences that can balance each other, especially if the signs are involved. So people might have gone through where they've released things, maybe even jobs, possessions, things the Taurus are about, mostly that groundedness, maybe even stubbornness. But for me personally, it worked out to where I think it kindly gave me like a groundedness and a balance and a peace, and an intense one I haven't felt in a long time, and was much needed. I'm not sure if it's like the calm before the storm. We'll see. But for me, I think that's the way it was. It was a nice, calming, grounding energy. And I have a feeling that it's much needed for the Scorpio new moon that's coming. So let's talk about Scorpio and what they represent. There's a lot to it, but we'll cover a lot of your more general things. Scorpios are very mysterious. They're all about death and rebirth, release, regeneration, the phoenix rising from the ashes. They're all about truth, not only finding the truth, but telling the truth, sort of, because they're also very mysterious and secretive at the same time. So, especially the unevolved Scorpios, they'll hold even more truth back, but they're all very truthful in some way. They will tell some truth. They almost always will tell a truth that is, in others or in the world around them. And I'll kind of get more on that, especially with how they mirror and reflect. There's just no way you're not going to find some truth being around a Scorpio. But they usually always pretty much uphold their truths as well, at least to what they know their truths are at the time. They're pretty good about looking within, so they usually know themselves pretty well. They're very patient in the sense that they observe and plan. They're not always patient in like getting what they want, and that might be an unevolved trait, but they are very patient in observing and planning their moves and just watching. They're very observant. They're very much about the higher consciousness, spiritual awareness, especially the evolved Scorpios. They a lot of times have increased intuitive abilities and psychic abilities, especially intuitive abilities. They're very good about listening to themselves and going within, and obviously that ranges, and it all depends on the scale of how evolved they are. They're the ones who have the most, I don't even know the right way to put it, but the most animals. Like Taurus is a bull, Cancer's a crab, Pisces is a fish. Scorpio has, like, depending on which one you look at, like between like 4 to 7, because they're so in depth and so complex that their evolution has multiple animals. Okay. With, I think some people say the eagle is the last one, but I've seen others where the phoenix is the final one. Regardless, though, they're very much about intensity. And I think that's why it was really nice to have the intense side of the Taurus and the grounding, because everything in the zodiac sign is about balance. So if we're having some intense energies coming our way on the Scorpio side, it's kind of nice to have had that balanced Taurus grounding side, because they're both about intensity. So you're gonna, whatever's come is probably gonna be, or comes is gonna be an intense. It's gonna be probably emotions, usually deep emotions. Scorpio is, all the water signs are emotional, but most of the other two like Cancer and Cancer and Pisces, I find are a little bit more like fluid. It's almost like a stepping. I think Pisces is the most fluid, Cancer is the middle, and Scorpio is the least. Theirs is almost like that still waters run deep, that murky water, that unknown below all that water. that dark murkiness that most people are scared of. Most people are scared to look at. Scorpios aren't. That's for the most part what they live in, is that darkness, the mystery, and they love it. And I think it's almost the opposite of a lot of other signs in that way, that the evolved Scorpios, that's one of their things, is to still love their darkness and love that dark water, but to also rise to the light and use the light, and learn how to balance that. Where a lot of signs, and I'm not saying they're dark, but a lot of signs are about embracing their dark side, and combining them. I think Scorpio, most of them, at least the more unevolved ones, are the ones still evolving. I mean, we're all always evolving, but the ones who haven't blended the light and the dark already, theirs is kind of opposite, in the sense of theirs is actually to rise and embrace the light. I know a lot of Scorpios that they kind of really have that thing. Like, they love that mischievous kind of dark thing, and almost like they don't feel like themselves, that they're dealing with the light or something with the light. Not that they're not good people, but just to use their regenerative and healing properties in better ways, especially if they are on a lower scale, because then they can tend to use it for not so great. I mean, still good, because I've had things done to me that, you know, back when, before my awakening, I mean, tore me apart. And now I look back on it and I realize how much of a great thing it was. So although that's great, and it's a great almost sacrifice in a way, to be the one to almost bring people through the dark so they can find the light again in a new perspective. Eventually their thing, Scorpios also, is they have to rise out of the darkness as well. But usually they do kind of help others intentionally or unintentionally through the dark before, you know, they rise to the light too. And I'm fully grateful for that. They will, there's no way you can't know who you are, your triggers, or they mirror you so much. So I'll get into that. But your sexuality may be increased, the intensity of that. It might be something you embrace. It might be something that you have almost an addiction with, or a problem with, or maybe you have old subconscious thoughts that you need to address with that. But either way, that intensity that comes in that creation, that fire. I mean, even though they are a water sign, Scorpios very much represent and embellish that fire-esque as well. Money might be also something that's in with this. Normally Scorpios are about kind of other, I don't know the right way to say this, but other people's money, outside money. Taurus is usually about their own and manifesting it themselves. Scorpio can obviously do that. We can pull off each other's traits. And they usually do end up, especially as they evolve, because usually when you evolve, you kind of balance with your opposite sign, so they naturally would start to manifest. But they would be like bonuses, inheritances, sharing money, loaning money, collaborations with business and money. But I think a lot of manifesting as well. They're gonna pull off that Taurus energy. It just kind of depends on what's going on in their life and what stage they're at in their evolution or evolving spirituality. So what you'll probably see is a lot of death, in a sense of removing of things that no longer work, but also rebirth. And that can be your health, looking into yourself about what needs to be looked at, what needs to be worked on, where can something be made better, what can I kind of rejuvenate again, maybe health practices, working out, eating better, meditation, really anything with your health can either come to light and be transformed, or work on transforming again. Material things, material possessions, it doesn't even matter what is. I mean, you can like fix up things in your house, change your house around, change your room around, really anything. Your clothes, your wardrobe, you know, your shoes, whatever your thing is. Creative projects, maybe there was something you started on that you stopped or got sidetracked from, and you're like, oh yeah, why did I stop that? Let me start that again. That'll be good for me. Or something that you're doing and you're like, you know what, this really isn't going the way I thought. Let me stop it. I'm going to start something else. There's going to be truths revealed, whether it's from, you know, things that you're revealing or things that you're hearing with others. Truth within yourself through self-reflection. I mean, I think that's the biggest part of this that's going to happen is self-reflection, because Scorpios are very big on self-reflection. Maybe even truths, you know, in the environment and social media and politics and all that I'm not even going to get into, not in this video anyways. But looking inside yourself, embracing your shadow side, understanding yourself, and not being scared of that, not being scared of the darkness, the things that are scary, that, you know, just seeing them and acknowledging them and loving them, you know, and, you know, utilizing some as strengths, and then releasing others that don't work for you and seeing old patterns. What areas of you need healing, whether it's emotional, physical. Look at the relationships, not only within yourself, but around you. Because everything in our environment mirrors things that are going on within us. So you can't really have always that victim mentality of, you know, oh, so-and-so is doing this, oh, so-and-so is this, or, oh, they're ignoring me, or they're not nice to me. Well, how are you ignoring yourself? How are you not being nice, or, you know, nice to yourself? If they're not listening to you, are you not listening to yourself? It always mirrors that within you. And just because of the way Scorpios are, to me, from what I've found, they are one of the best mirrors. And for somebody who's not ready to do reflection and look within and kind of take the responsibility of it, they are going to offend you. You are going to misunderstand them a lot of times. But you have to look deeper than that, not only within them, which is sometimes hard to do, but within yourself. Hey, stop. And sometimes too, I mean, I don't know if a lot of Scorpios will like that, because a lot of them like to be like mysterious. Although they want to be understood, they don't want to be understood, because they like kind of being mysterious. But a lot of times, whether it's Scorpios or anybody, the best way to understand somebody else, honestly, from what I found, is to understand yourself. Like, if you understand yourself, somehow you understand so many things around you. You understand so many people around you. It's just weird how that happens. Like, the more you let go of control, the more control you have. The more you trust yourself, the more you trust other people. It's just one of those things that happens and is ironic with the universe. But look at how you react to things. What are your roles in relationships? What triggers you? Why does it trigger you? Why is that person triggering you? Because only you can give something significance. Like, if somebody told me I was a bad cook, I'm not going to care, because I know I'm a good cook, so you're not going to faze me. But they might say something else to me that would really bother me. In the past, I mean, I used to be a very reactive person. And I lose control that way. And I realized, because it was things of my insecurity, and I'm like, oh, look at them, look at what they're doing. Oh, so-and-so did this to me and they were a horrible person. Yeah, but I was there and I participated and I clearly got something from it because I stayed there. So it's all about looking within yourself, seeing what your role is in things. Where can things be healed? Where can things be let go? Where can things be revived? What can be made better? You know, what are those dark sides in you? Because through a lot of my shadow work that I've done, it's just brought so many amazing things. I wish I had done it a lot sooner. I mean, in a way, I'm glad I didn't, because now I'm able to be here with the stuff I know now. but at the same time, I mean, it's such a blessing, and it's intense, but it's a great energy. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to do the earth signs for Scorpio new moon for 2017, which first we're going to do Capricorn, then we're going to do Taurus, and then we're going to do Virgo. First, I'm going to pull 2 cards from the Animal Spirit Oracle deck from the Wild Unknown. So it'll just, most of the time it tends or is seeming to take us from the energy that we're beginning with or going from to what it's wanting us to kind of go to or evolve to with the Scorpio energy for the new moon. Sometimes it's an obstacle energy. Sometimes it's something that we're embracing. We'll just see how it goes. Sometimes it unfolds differently. I'm going to pull 2 cards for that, just for the earth signs as one, an overall energy just for the earth signs. I'll pull an oracle card for each sign. So Capricorn will have their own, Taurus will have their own, Virgo will have their own. There was, when I was shuffling the oracle cards though, because I pre-shuffled those just so it was a little bit faster for when I'm pulling them, there were 3 cards that came out, so I will do those before I read the animal spirit cards. And I'll show you what they are first, and then just kind of let you know what I get from them as the message altogether. You have the Witch at the end of the world, an important end, a new beginning. You have Ghost of the Pumpkin Patch, count your blessings. I am going to try to start doing these in the day, just so it's a little bit easier. The reflection from the cameras, you'll be able to see the cards a little bit better. And then you have Angel de los Muertos, transitions to the spirit realm. These are just extras that they just wanted to come out. They had their own message. They're not the ones I'm going to read for each sign. And what I get from it is that, I mean, everybody, all the signs, obviously, due to what Scorpio represents with endings and new beginnings, and sometimes resurgences, but endings and new beginnings. Everybody has that same energy. I mean, most signs had either a lot of the world cards, the Tower, the Wheel of Fortune, but kind of I see everybody's going through an ending phase and something that's either dealing with passion, something emotional, maybe even a little bit of emotional turmoil. Like if you look, the sand is going through, they're waiting for something to end or get better. Green, I think of green, heart chakra, emotional, and then you could see the lightning in the background, something kind of chaotic and emotional, which, I mean, Scorpio a lot of times, especially for the lower level, they're just kind of seen sometimes as I don't want to say chaos, because it's not chaos, but it is sometimes, especially to ones, I mean, Scorpio, that's what they do best, is transform and death, rebirth, and rise from the ashes, and they're used to that. But to others who aren't, I mean, they're like really the only sign who does it the most like that. So to other ones, it can seem a little chaotic. But what I'm really getting from this is that there's going to be endings, there's going to be shifts and changes. And during this time, I mean, you might even have changes or things taken from you. That's a horrible way to say that, but, things changed or going away. Whether it's a relationship, a job, maybe your house, material possessions, friendships, maybe even someone passing. I mean, I don't really want to say that, but it really can be anything that is going through a transformation in your life. And whatever it is that is changed or taken away, you're really being asked during this time to have faith and gratitude during it. And to know that no matter what, you're going to be taken care of. You will always have enough to get you through this time. And what will be changed or purged will be no longer needed. And what will remain is you will have what is needed, which means like count your blessings. It's the number one also. So it's like you will have enough for yourself and for whatever is important around you. You will be taken care of during this time, whether you have to minimize or say you have to move or whatever the case may be during this time, during the shift, the ending, the beginning, whatever, you will have enough and be taken care of. And you are being guided spiritually through this process. You have transitions to a spirit realm. So not only is what's going on a lesson to help you spiritually evolve yourself as far as like karma or lessons, but if you look, she has like, it looks like angel wings. I don't know if you can see it, but like these are the wings. So you are being guided during the process, and, you know, it kind of has a side message too of a lot of times, you know, there's the thought that, you know, you have to have a death to have a rebirth, even like a physical death, but it's saying that you don't. It's kind of embracing the Scorpio energy. It's basically also saying that during this, you don't have to, you know, because there's the whole idea of when you come down here, you had certain lessons and certain things to do. And if you didn't fulfill them, then you pass on and come back and have to start new with those lessons again. And it's saying you don't. This energy is giving you that time and that opportunity and that maybe even blessings in disguise sometimes, even that you're giving almost a chance to start again, to start anew, that you don't always have to completely physically pass on in order to start over. It is bringing you this energy through this Scorpio new moon and saying, we are going to assist you and helping you to purge whatever you need to internally, externally, patterns, material possessions, relationships, anything that is no longer serving you or holding you back or is stopping you from spiritually ascending yourself, evolving, or walking your truth or your true path. So it's basically just saying there are going to be transitions. They might even be pretty rough ones. But you are going to be protected during this time. You are going to have everything you need, and to just trust in the process that whatever goes is meant to go and whatever stays is meant to stay. It might be that something is permanently removed from your life. It might be temporarily removed from your life in order to, almost like the tower, to literally destroy any faulty foundation that is there, to allow a new stronger one to be built, or something that you even thought was dead or no longer there or no longer in your life or was never coming back might actually have a comeback, be a revival. So any of those are possible, but just have faith during the process. Okay, so let's do the overall animal spirit energies. Give me 2 cards for earth signs. Scorpio, new moon, 2017. One more card, thank you. The Scorpio, new moon, 2017 for the earth signs. One more card. That's so crazy. One more card, please. Okay. All right, so these 2 cards, I'll tell you a little quick, I guess, funny thing of why I said that's funny. For the water signs and for the air signs, they both got the eagle. And I believe it was the air signs that got the tiger. Why that's funny is that Scorpio is the only sign out of all the zodiac signs that their animal symbols, whatever it's called that represents them in the zodiac, like Taurus is a bull, Pisces is a fish, Gemini is the twins, Cancer's a crab, Scorpio is the scorpion. Depending on what you look at, Scorpios actually have anywhere from like 4 to 7, maybe even more, who knows, between at least 4 to 7 different symbols, because their evolution process is so complex that there's different ones that represent that. The scorpion is actually one of the lower ones. So when Scorpios evolve, they actually don't end at the Scorpio. They end at, depending on whichever one you're looking at either the eagle is the ending or the phoenix is the end one. I think the one where they're 4 is the one where the eagle is the last one. But it's funny because 3 of the signs got eagle and the air signs got the phoenix. So I thought that was actually interesting that the Scorpio energy has popped up for every single sign out of these animal cards. So I just thought that was interesting. So I'm going to read these energies first. I don't really look at these as yours came up not as a beginning and an end. Yours came up as both to embrace. So I'm going to read them real quick just because I like the messages in the about the cards, and then I'll intuitively tell you what I think. We will do the tiger first. So lunar force, like the new moon. Ease and darkness, feminine energy, both Scorpio energy. I mean, they love the darkness. They live in the darkness, and they are a feminine energy. They are a negative sign, a receptive sign. The tiger hunts at night, at one with the silence, fearing nothing. This card reminds us to take in the wild darkness, to allow the lunar forces to soothe and heal our spirits. Sensuality, receptivity, and devotion are all heightened in the midnight hour, and the tiger takes advantage of these boons. Spend time in silence this evening, drinking in the potent calm. There is nothing to fear in the stillness except the awakening of your own power. When in balance, tiger energy is passionate, strong, and sensual. When out of balance, tiger energy is overstimulated. To bring into balance, to bring tiger energy into balance, you would do Tradaka, Trataka, Tra'aka, I don't know. Candle gazing. So I'm assuming at least part of that may be focusing on a light or focusing candle gazing. From what I remember, I think it helps you with your to increase your visualization. So, which makes sense as far as for probably intuition and seeing vision through the darkness. So that makes sense. I guess it's a special name for candle gazing, but and then the eagle. So we have all-pervading power, truth seeker, transformed karma, all of them Scorpio energy. The noble eagle emanates the light of the sun. This great bird is both physically and spiritually strong and represents mastery over the elements of fire and air. When the eagle appears, you'll soon be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of your transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves and stop at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun in your talons and hold on for the ride. You are stronger than you think, Eagle Child. When in balance, Eagle energy is bright, radiant, and enjoys challenges. When out of balance, Eagle energy is controlling. To bring into balance, to bring Eagle energy into balance, step into the unknown. Because it's usually through the darkness and the unknown that, we really transform the most and allows us to change. So what I get from the Tiger card is not only do you have the moon, which is right over where like the third eye would be. So I see intuition and using your intuition and going within. Scorpio energy is very much about going within and using their intuition, not only about themselves, but other people. Tigers also do it with a fierceness, not being scared. Don't be scared to look within. Don't be scared to go within the darkness. This tiger is also white and black. And he has integrated the light and the dark, even the shadow side within themselves. And they are just walking proudly with that and loving all those sides of it and embracing it. So, it's going within. Also, tigers, their eyes, any feline, they're very good about seeing at night. They have really good night vision. So it's really about using your intuition and going within, and looking into that darkness, doing shadow work, seeing your shadow and your dark sides and integrating those. Using it as strength, the part that you're able to, and releasing and letting go of what is no longer valuable or what no longer works for you. Tigers also are very stealthy. They will be very patient and sneak up on their prey and wait for the right moment. Scorpios are also very good. I know some, when they really want something, they are a very intense sign. But when they are confident about something, they are very patient. When they make plans and they set plans in place, they are very confident in doing just enough of what it takes, if anything at all, depending on what it needs. And waiting in the process, knowing that something is coming to them, or knowing and waiting for that right moment. They will wait for things to come to them, like a scorpion, sorry. They will wait, and they will wait till something comes within their area before they charge and attack. I'm not saying to go attack something, but it's knowing when to be more in that, when to balance that receptive versus aggressive energy or action like energy. Knowing when actions need to be taken, and knowing when it's okay to sit back and relax and lay your seeds, lay your intentions, which is the new moon time of laying and speaking and setting your intentions, and then kind of sitting back and letting the universe, or letting, whatever you believe in, source, God, kind of take hold of those intentions and help them to manifest. So it's also knowing about the balance of knowing when to act and when to sit back and be patient and just relax and go on about, do other things, work on yourself, work on your career, whatever it is, and having faith that whatever is supposed to unfold and how it's supposed to unfold, that it will. The eagle energy, you have the orange in there, which is like your sacral chakra. So anything having to do with creative energy, also could be sexual energy. So it's doing creative ventures, finding something you want to begin or something you want to change or revise. Could be addressing your sexual side. It could be something, maybe you have some negative patterns on it as far as addictions or unhealthy things that you're relying on with it. Or it could even be unhealthy ideas of you were taught that you have unhealthy ideas of sexual expression, whether it's overindulging or whether it's you think it's dirty or it's wrong. And we going back to that, because if you have an unhealthy idea of sex, or that sexual expression is wrong or dirty or bad, or you just have inhibiting thoughts about that's also bad. You know, as much as overindulging can be bad, so can not being able to express your sexual side. You also have yellow, which would be your solar plexus chakra. That's will, confidence, self-esteem, determination, your drive, just going forward. It's funny actually that you have the eagle that kind of embraces that same energy that I said about the tiger, which if you look, I mean, this eagle is soaring, and she is waiting. He is waiting for that moment. They soar in the same way, looking for prey, and they wait for that right time to dive down and go after what they want. So it's also about, and he's also black and white for the most part. So not only are they balancing and going within on their dark side and their shadow side, but they are embracing and integrating and balancing those two sides, as well as balancing their receptivity and the action to take. So not being too aggressive and overworking yourself, which, you know, this is something very big, especially for earth signs, because they really can be one of the signs to really overwork themselves. Not overworking yourself, but not underworking yourself. Doing just enough. I don't know if you've ever heard of like the 80-20 rule, where it's like 80, look it up to go farther into it, because I don't have a lot of time to explain it, but it's something about, out of all the work you do, only 20% of that actually brings you your gains, and like 80% of that is actually wasted. So if you actually, sorry, there's a fly. If you actually took that time and just put in your 20% of what gained you your efforts, and then more productively used that other 80%, you would actually accomplish so much more. It's about really prioritizing and looking where your actions are spent to be more productive and be more relaxed. It really doesn't actually take that much, and there's actually statistics and stuff that go along with that. So if you're interested in that, YouTube that, I think you would just have to look up like the 80-20 rule, and you would see what I was talking about. But it's really changed a lot of people's lives, and for anxiety and how much time they put into stuff and just overworking themselves, and realizing that 80% of what you do really isn't actually what brings you your results in whatever efforts you do. There's a lot more to it. For the sake of time, though, I won't go into that, but look it up. It's actually very interesting. But this eagle energy is also about knowing when to lay seeds and when to do the work, and also when to back off and wait for something to come to them. Okay, so we're going to start off with Capricorn. And Capricorn, your first card for your energy is you have the 7 of Cups. So you have choose wisely. You're definitely having something that you're having to decide and figure out about. And you have 2 birds. I don't know what they are. So I don't know if this is probably about a relationship. I actually get 2 things actually from your reading. I do get about a relationship, but just actually like in the animal spirits, I also get about balancing the masculine and the feminine sides of yourself. So, and what I mean by that, I'll explain this real quick before I go into it. By masculine or feminine, you either are overbalanced on your feminine and you're not acting enough. You're just like, I want this, I want to do this, I want to do this, this would be great. And you're not putting enough action in to bring in those results. Or you're doing way too much action and you're not putting yourself enough in the receptive mode. The feminine energy is the receptive mode, and the masculine energy is the action based. So I also get there is a balance between that as well. That could be just in your life, that could be in a creative venture, that could also apply to a relationship. But either way, you are trying to decide which way do I go. This person looks like they're meditating, so maybe you're really either praying or meditating about it. Your cards that explain it is you have the Justice card. I'll show you them first before I explain them. You have the Queen of Swords. In between this and the last card, you have the Page of Cups. And the last one is you have the King of Swords. So, I mean, if you look, like you have the Justice, and I'll put that down, but sandwiched in between the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords is the Page of Cups. So there definitely is some type of relationship. I do also see it within yourself as the masculine and the feminine, which makes sense anyways, because our relationships mirror what's going on within us anyway. So it makes sense that if there is something going on internally of the balance of your masculine and feminine, it more than likely is going to show also in a relationship as well. You also, in this Justice card, normally you have the scales, but this person not only has like dead fish or piranha, which means like something has died or is at the end of its cycle, but there's also truth that is coming forth and making balance with truth, maybe even triumph or success, but I see truth and creating balance in a situation with truth, maybe even bringing the truth and acknowledging the fact that this situation has run its course or needs to run its course. The Queen of Swords is cutting somebody away. I mean, this could have to do with Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. There's also water signs. So Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. You also have earth signs as well. There's also fire signs, so it could be Aquarius, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. And you also do have the Temperance card, so I do very strongly see also Sagittarius really too. But not only has the Queen of Swords probably cut something away, but she has blood on her swords and is crying. Where the King of Swords, I mean, he's just sitting there with his sword. Like, he's like, So I think either someone hurt her, could be him or her, apply it as needed. But the Queen of Swords was either hurt by the King of Swords and his truth, or she had to lay the truth down and do something that really hurt her just to create balance. The Justice card has 2 swords. The Queen of Swords has 2 swords. The King of Swords has 1 sword. So he's, from what I get from it, again, apply it as needed. But whoever the King of Swords is in the situation, it seems like he's not as focused on balance in the situation. If you look also, there's this little guy sitting next to him who he is tan, kind of like an earthy color, and blue, and so is the earth that he's holding. But there's more earth than blue, especially on the guy. So it's almost like the King of Swords is like not really dealing with emotions. They're not really being emotional. They're not bringing emotions to the forefront. Their mouth has this thing on it. It's like they're just keeping, I don't know if you could really see it, but it's almost like this thing where it's not going to be able to talk. and they're just trying to be more grounded and earthy and not really on the emotional side or dealing with emotions. And they're just bringing one truth, like whatever truth they want to say. They say what they need to say, just enough, and after that, like, they're just kind of closed-mouthed. Like, they're not saying what they don't need to say. They're saying just enough. And they're mostly just trying to stay grounded and not really deal with emotions. Where the Queen of Swords, I mean, she doesn't have a lot of water either, but, I mean, she actually has none, but she does have her tears. There's obviously something emotional going on, as well as you have the full moon. I mean, they all have moons. Which makes me almost think, too, that whoever this Queen of Swords is the one that let it go. I mean, she's taken the swords, like, you know, kind of crisscross them like you would when something's done. I think he ended a situation. It may either be someone broke it off. It could be a divorce. Karma ending. This could have been a karma situation. The karma was released. I think you have the Page of Cups, which really could signify immaturity. This person is covered with a costume or a mask of a fish. So somebody wearing a mask and not really being real or presenting themselves as they really are. But also the Queen of Swords is really looking at the Page of Cups too. And I think she is done with the immature situation. But also, like, if you look, there's a whale tail, the tail of a whale in the background, and kind of looking at it like, you know, I'm going to deal with the size of battles that I can handle, almost in a way. Like, that whale is much too big to deal with. I'll deal with this little fish. That's much easier to deal with and control. Almost like the idea of, I've spent too much time investing in this situation that I apparently have no control over if only one of us is really invested in this and trying to balance this situation out. So I might as well put an end to this, balance things out, and make things right with myself, and focus on something that is going to be good for me and that I can control, and that is going to balance me out and make me happy. And it might even be something that maybe is a beginning love with a water sign, or it could be a creative venture. Hopefully, you know, she might even have left the King of Swords for emotional manipulation. You could see him, like, stroking this fish, like, bringing something golden to him, and almost like manipulation. Like, maybe the King of Swords was doing it manipulating to get what they wanted. Keep in mind that during this, there's not only going to be one person. I think Libra, Sagittarius also, and Cancer, might have been Cancer, all kind of got, you know, my thing on this. But this is not going to be just the King of Swords. There could also be narcissism and narcissistic traits mixed in here, or it could just be somebody who's just emotionally shut down. Or maybe they were also misunderstood, because one thing about air signs, especially, like, say it's an Aquarius, like King of Swords could be an Aquarius, or somebody with those type of traits, or air-like traits, especially like an Aquarius. A lot of times they are misunderstood as not being emotional or not bringing their emotions to the forefront. And a lot of times they kind of get the raw end of the deal in a way a little bit, because you don't readily see their emotions as much. So sometimes they tend to get stepped on, or almost like treated like they don't have emotions just because they don't show them in the same way, because theirs are more intellectual than earth signs in the body, fire signs passionate, or water signs emotional. Air signs kind of more have it up here, and it's not as easily seen if somebody doesn't understand that or know that about somebody, or really know that person. So just keep that in mind too. that Aquarius's air signs, but especially Aquarius's, I think, get it the most, that you know, the way they love or show love sometimes, or that they don't always show it in the same, their emotions in the same way, but they are still very emotional, as emotional. But what I was originally saying is, especially if you've been in this situation for a long time, you know, that person, whether even if they were manipulating or not showing their emotions, they are not the only one in this. Like, how have you played a part in it? Why has it been around this long? Whether you have kids or not, there's more at play there. So really look at your patterns, look at, you know, the past. What signs did you ignore? People often are like, oh, they manipulated me. But if you stayed in that situation for a while, we sometimes forget that we're manipulating too. Because in order to stay in that situation for that long of a time, there is no way you could have been living in your truth and really presenting who you really are and really setting your boundaries and what is making you happy. You were also manipulating the situation in order to keep them there in possibly some codependent way. So, you know, if not, then don't, you know, just apply what I say as needed, but really take this time to look at your patterns, any negative thoughts you have, any maybe things that you grew up from seeing things from your parents or friends or society or just societal, hey, stop, societal norms. What did you not want to look at and deal with, and what truths did you not speak to keep this situation going? But just do the internal work is what I'm saying. Especially if this situation is over and doesn't revive itself. Don't just move on to another party. Give yourself time to heal. Give yourself time to self-reflect. Give yourself time to go in and look at those shadow sides of yourselves and your own patterns and your own thought processes. And, you know, maybe even look up, it might help you to look up codependency and narcissism. Most of the time when I say that to people, they really don't listen to me. But it's really one of those things, if you really go in and learn about that and you look at the patterns and that you really let that click for you, I mean, your world just opens up and you start to really see, you know, oh my God, like what you've ignored for so long and how it can really help you and when to stop playing the victim. And I'm not saying that in a wrong way. Like, we all do it. But anytime you're coming out of a situation possibly like this, or even one that wasn't right for you, you know, she looks like she's hurt. And I mean, even really abusive ones. Yes, somebody obviously is a stronger energy, but something usually from your past or your childhood attracted you to them and them to you. Usually if you have, I don't know why I'm stuck on this, there must be a reason why, but normally if you have a narcissist, you have a codependent. And actually narcissists are codependents, and a lot of times codependents can actually be narcissistic as well. It's just one will be a little bit more on the narcissistic scale, but they both have things to gain from the situation. What were you gaining from this situation until it became too much? And hopefully this is something that ended a cycle for you, and you can start anew, and this will actually allow you to look at your patterns to really see what's going on and why you're choosing what you're choosing. And if it's not a relationship, like I said, I think there's clearly things that show an integration of masculine and femininity that needs to go on here. Of, are you overacting in some ways? Are you putting too much energy and running yourself just tired of doing too much work to where it's not productive for you anymore? Or are you just sitting back being like, I really need to change my job, or I really want to start this new project, or I really need to change my diet, I really need to lose weight, I really need to start exercising, I really need to start meditating every day, I really need to start surrounding myself by better people. Whatever it is that you need to start doing, are you just talking about it or thinking about it? Or are you starting to implement those practices? Are you starting to actually put in the action role of it? Because don't forget, another common thing of being a codependency is almost like this entitlement in a way. And I had to realize that about myself during, my being in the middle of my awakening process, is to sit back and constantly be like, I want this, I want that, and just not doing anything about it. It is an act of entitlement. And to truly make changes in your life for the better and to grow, you cannot be an entitled person. You have to know that you are going to have to put work into it. You're going to have to find that balance to not overwork. There is something with that too, but don't just make excuses in your life. And I'm not saying you are, maybe someone else is, but there seems to be this balance, especially with you guys, with everybody actually, but with you guys, that really needs to be had. Not only I feel like it's really mirroring in the relationships around you, because there seems to really, with your spread, be this internal and external view of it. You see the internal male and female, and then you see the external male and female. And that could also be same sex. You have your male and female energies anyways. So my biggest probably recommendation outside of the spirit cards is really go within too and look at that, because as you fix the internal and as you integrate the internal, your external will mirror that. Before I go into your guidance cards, you also had these cards that came up where you had the Temperance card, and you have the Nine of Pentacles, and you have the Eight of Swords. So again, you might have a Sagittarius, or it might be another earth sign or even an air sign, but I see that you're wanting to create balance and stability back in your life, like an even kind of give and take. And kind of just have a really sturdy and strong foundation. And you might feel the only way you can do that right now is just to become independent on your own, focus on yourself, things you can control, and maybe focusing on your finances, your work, your abundance, your independence, your own happiness within. Because you've just really been in your head and you want to come out of that. There might have also been third party situations you've really been dealing with, and you're just tired of it. Like you don't want to deal with any of it anymore. You really want balance and stability. You want emotional balance. You want to feel grounded again and feel stable. Like I said, there could be a Sagittarius involved. And I feel like you think just by being on your own and going within might be the best way to do that and to balance yourself out, because the Justice card not only shows me some type of possible, maybe a divorce or karma ending or the universe being on your side. If you were in the wrong side of the situation, karma may not be on your side. If you were on the right side of the situation, right, wrong, it looks like it's turning in your favor. But I really see a lot also about balance, integration, doing what's best for you, ending a cycle, knowing what you have during this. Maybe if you are going through divorce, you might have some financial loss or have to change houses, or, anytime you go through divorce or a loss in relationships, things are going to be shifting in what you could take with you versus what you could bring. But just know that you will be guided and protected during the process, and you will have all you need during it. Have faith in it during it. This situation will help you grow, and it will help integrate you. Do not walk into another situation without doing this work, because you will find yourself right back here again. You might actually have a harder lesson next time. So do the work before you throw yourself in another situation. Do not go into another one because you're lonely or whatever. Do the work before you walk into another situation. Your cards of advice is, you have the Knave or Page of Wands, You have the Seven of Cups again. And you have the King of Swords again. So again, you have this male and female energy. You have all these choices. Again, choosing wisely. What do I want? And again, you have the King of Swords. You almost have the same justice vibe from that. So I feel like almost in a way, like, you know, there's like the justice vibe from this King of Swords. But he's kind of more dealing with the outside world, and all you're really getting to apply is this, you know, take this as it applies to you, change it, flip it if you need to. But all you're getting is almost this stone, emotionless, somebody not really speaking their truth. I mean, you have a baby down there and he's not holding the swords. You have somebody who's just being very immature. The baby can't talk yet. So they're not strong enough to hold the sword and speak their truth. They might just be really kind of immature or not knowing how to express, not able to express how they feel. Maybe even like they need so much from you. You're the one having to give all the care because they're like a baby, but yet with other people, they're adult enough to deal with the outside world and the outside situations. They're speaking their truth to others in the world, but to you, they're just not giving or investing in the same way you are. And, you know, they're bringing their passion to the outside world, but with you, they're like, I don't know what I want anymore. I don't know if I have passion for this anymore. And you're also looking at it like, well, I have passion for it, but now with the way you're being, what do I want? Where am I going to go? How am I going to start off with this? There could also be a lot of like out of balance sexual energies here. Like I said, maybe even third party situations. Like maybe this is either you or them being like, look at all these options I have. Which ones do I want? And these girls are like, oh my God, what are they going to choose? Are they going to choose me? And she's like, and he's just like, which one is it going to be? I don't know. There's all these options. You really want me to like narrow it down to you and prioritize it down to you? What fun is that? I've got all these options in life. I don't really know. Can't I have you and all these at the same time? I don't know what I want. I don't know what really burns my fire, and I really want to figure it out. Like a child, kind of greedy, like they want everything. Everything's all about them. You know, children are very much in the me mind. They're very much like me. Focus on me, take care of me. It's all about me. I'm going to do me. I'm not really going to speak much to you. You take care of all that responsible stuff. I'm in it for the fun. I'm in it for all the options. Maybe even the illusions. And, you know, they're going separate ways to figure out what they want. Maybe you knew what you wanted, or someone knew what they wanted, but the other person did not know what they wanted. And there's immaturity there. It could also just be within yourself or wanting to do a creative venture. But even within, like, say it's a creative venture, it might also be, are you starting it and you're starting something creatively, or you have these ideas, but yet you haven't put enough action into it? Or you started a creative venture and you're like really overdoing yourself. So even if it's a creative thing, find that balance between that masculine and feminine, the receptive to the action. This could also just be a relationship. It could be both. So I think the advice would really be to find out what you want, find out what's best for you, find out what you're passionate about, look at your options, what serves you best, and focus on yourself, just like this other person is doing. Balance energies with energies. If you stay in it, do this. If you leave to do that, leave, create balance, and focus on yourself, and come out of being in your head. But balance, same thing. Exactly what they're doing. Match the energy. Don't overgive. Like if they're only bringing so much, you only bring so much. If you want to remove yourself from it, remove yourself from it. Whether it's permanently or long enough to get yourself balanced and then mirror to them. And then they're forced to make a decision. Do I want to match their energies? Or do I want to make a decision and be like, no, this isn't worth my time, and I go. But trust me, if you balance yourself and you bring yourself balance to somebody and you show that, you become that mirror, you bring a different mirror, because you guys are going to mirror each other now. But if you go do work and you come back as something else, you're going to bring a different mirror. And they're either going to be like, whoa, and they're going to take off and show you right away they're not meant to be part of your life, or they're going to care enough to do that work, and then they're going to do work on themselves and then mirror in the same way. I mean, the best way to show who's supposed to be in your life is to speak your truth, live your truth, and set your boundaries. It takes care of all that for you. So find out what you want, what you're passionate about, and what's best for you, and focus on you. Like, put all the needs, all that nurturing, all that caring that you would put into someone who's greedy or a child, and do it for yourself. Focus on self-love. Become balanced. This Nine of Pentacles is very much about independence. They're about self-love. They love themselves. They love their life. They love what they've put together, and they are attracting abundance because of it. Okay? All right. Let me pull an oracle card for you and see what this matches up as. Give me an oracle card for Capricorn, Scorpio, New Moon 2017. Okay. Exactly like I said. You have back off. Voodoo in blue. You're probably feeling blue, and someone might, you have the little voodoo doll. Maybe somebody's trying to really manipulate a situation. She looks mad. But I have back off too. Exactly like I said. Match energies with energies. You either back off and leave the situation permanently or temporarily, but you back off with the energy. If somebody is not putting in the same energy as you, you back off and you give no more than what they're putting in. No more. You balance the situation. That's why a lot of your cards, they have the Two of Swords. Balance. Back off from overgiving in a situation. And being the only one there, and being only nurturing, and letting somebody take care of them like they're a child. Or have them do all the little things because they're like, I'm not going to bring myself to this. You can do it. I don't really care. You can do it. I'm going to act like a baby. I'm going to act like I don't know how to speak. I'm going to act like I don't know what I want. Okay, I got you. I'm going to back off, and I'm going to focus on myself, because you don't want to be this angry either. That doesn't make you feel too good. But don't get angry. Also, don't get angry and manipulate the situation. Like, this Queen of Swords has blood on there. So it might be something, like, it hurt her to cut this away. Or maybe she's this angry that she came in swinging some swords. Don't do that. Don't be immature. They might be being immature, but are you being immature? Especially for air signs. Like, if you're a Gemini, I'm a Gemini moon. I'm a Taurus sun, Gemini moon, Leo rising, Venus in Pisces, Jupiter and Scorpio, many others. But if they're being immature, it might be them too. But hopefully you're not this hurt and you're being immature as well. Hopefully you're not also manipulating the situation. Like I said, things mirror each other. So don't become this angry and try to hurt the other person because you're so hurt about it, or manipulate the situation like she has this little voodoo doll. Back off, focus on yourself, give yourself self-love, get back into balance, and focus on yourself. Focus on yourself, self-love, do the internal shadow work, go inside, balance, use your intuition, rise up, release what doesn't work for you, and transform and keep what does. But do not manipulate. Don't become angry and nasty. Just that tends to be, that's also a codependent thing. And this is Capricorn too. Your guys' thing is the devil, but don't, a lot of times people can unknowingly become kind of angry or resentful due to overgiving and being upset that they weren't receiving back what they gave and having those expectations. And yes, it's sad, but whose fault is that at the end of the day? Yours. Take back that power, back off, lose the resentment, do your internal work, become balanced, and you won't have that problem anymore. This does not solve that problem. Internal work and balancing solves that problem. Do some yoga, meditation, maybe do where like you lay on your back and you have your legs going up like this and use your legs and your butt to kind of push, your stomach and your butt in the air. So like here's your middle part of your body, your legs are coming down, your feet and your head and shoulders are on the floor, but just lift your butt in the air. Your middle part and your butt will be in the air. And you might actually push some negative emotions up from your root chakra. Google on YouTube meditation or yoga positions for releasing negative patterns, thoughts, subconscious negativity, any of that. You might actually, I felt mine one time rise from my root chakra in my pelvis and focus on releasing. There is guided meditations on that really help as well. But look into it, do some research. Leave some comments if you need help with that. I'll try to help you as much as I can. But it seems like you really have some negative subconscious thoughts and patterns that are to be released and changed during this cycle. And if you're angry, release that. Don't go after the person or after certain things. Release that. Let it go. It's not going to serve you. Okay, I need to move on, so I'm going to go on to Taurus, but good luck with that. I love you guys. I understand completely where you're coming from. I've been there even in places, and I'm sorry if you're like, I don't know what she's talking about, because even if I'm saying it about the other person, more than likely it applies to you too. It's a mirroring effect. I've been through this. I know exactly how you feel, so just look within. Don't blow this off right away if I'm saying that, as it automatically has to be the other person. Okay, Taurus. I feel like that you are also going through some balancing out. Tauruses might very well be going through some type of ascension or awakening themselves. I have a feeling they've went through some very negative things, traumatic things, even emotionally traumatic things, whether it be deaths, divorce, loss of jobs, emotional traumas in relationships, just things that really just rocked your world to where you kind of, I don't want to say had no choice, because you always have a choice, but you didn't have a choice to have your eyes open. The veil came down, a large portion of it anyways. I feel like you're becoming more balanced. I mean, if you look, you have the Six of Pentacles, material and spiritual prosperity. So you are learning how to balance yourself out and the give and take of it. You see the balance with the two waterfalls, and he's standing there while the sun is ascending. Light is ascending. You're seeing. You also have the crown chakra. So you are connecting to that higher realm. You are connecting to the spiritual realm, the higher wisdom of it. I really believe either you're becoming aware of a lot of things. I have a feeling a lot of Tauruses are actually going through possible like spiritual awakenings, which is awesome, because I hear a lot of people say Tauruses are like, oh, they're so closed-minded, and I get it. I get where they're coming from with that. But Tauruses are actually a very spiritual sign as well, even with the bull, and the bull having like the eye connected. We are very much connected to the third eye and the spiritual realm. Even as far as like lessons, Tauruses are very good at taking stuff from this, which actually is, I just clicked this. So if you put it, well, like this, taking stuff from the higher spiritual realms and bringing it to an earthly manifested form. This is the Six of Pentacles. So if in the normal Rider-Waite, you would have somebody who, you know, obviously you have the scales balancing it out, but they have brought enough money and materialistic and earthly possessions and brought enough to that earthly form that now they are able to also give out and give back. So whether it's through just realizing things or actually going through a full-on spiritual awakening, I think Tauruses are starting to do one of the things they do best, and not only obviously manifesting materially, but they are taking stuff almost from an way that a lot of people can't understand or explain from the spiritual realm and putting it into this earthly grounded materialistic way that now people can understand and understand. And like, oh, like that's one of the reasons they're seen as the Hierophant, as somebody who is that spiritual teacher, lesson giver of lessons, and just showing people things is, and why it's the Taurus card is because that is what they're good at, is taking the ideas from the above and changing it and manifesting it to that lower earthly realm. And I think Tauruses are really doing that. Unfortunately and fortunately, they had to go through a lot of heartbreak in order to have that happen. And through the shadow work, if you look, you see the shadow work behind here. Maybe there's also third party situations, being stabbed in the back. There's also a lot of lightning in the background. So it was very, very chaotic and tumultuous situation. But through doing the shadow work and looking within, they are able to ascend and see above and end a cycle and come full circle. So great things. You also have the fish at the top. A lot of them are probably creating abundance with it. I mean, Tauruses are manifesting. Some have not gone through this process yet and will. Some currently are. Some are farther ahead with it. But just know that during this process, even if it's scary and you haven't gotten to kind of the higher side of it or seeing the plus side of it yet, this is something, this is your advice. You have 3 advice cards. It's going to bring you emotional fulfillment and happiness and what you wanted. Have strength during this. Know that, you know, the strength is within you. This is not only to bring you emotional fulfillment, but to show you your own strengths within. Maybe even to conquer some of your own inner beasts, lusts, or desires. But I think it's saying you have emotional fulfillment coming. Have strength during this time, because look how these people are nurturing this baby. It's almost like this is the universe guiding you through this process. Things are being balanced out in your life. Truth, here's a sword. Truths are coming out. This veil that covered all this is coming down. Like, you're really starting to see. And during this process of the veil coming down, you are being protected and guided through this process. And this is something that is supposed to happen. This is to help balance your life. This is to help with any karma in your life. It's asking you just to trust in the process. It's bringing you balance. It's bringing truth, and it's allowing you to see. It's removing that veil, which is actually kind of funny that this is coming like soon after Halloween, which is about the veil being thinner, the veil coming down so you can see more properly. But you are being guided and nurtured through this situation. There is a point to all this, and it is to bring you emotional abundance, satisfaction, happiness. It is to bring you strength. It is to bring you a balance. It is to help you ascend to a higher realm, and also to give back and bring this lesson forth to those around you. So just be confident through this, hang in there, and trust through this process. Let's pull an oracle card for you and see what matches for this oracle for Scorpio new moon 2017. Ooh, that's a lot. So you have faceless ghosts and the haunted girl. I've never had this card before. If you add 4 plus 3, the card number is 34. It's 7. This is divine what is going on. This is for sure being assisted from the higher realms. It's really, you're really doing a lot of shadow work with the ghost people in the haunted girl, looking at your shadow side, looking at anywhere that there's masks or veils or truths around you, seeing the truth, seeing people who've been wearing masks, seeing them for who they are. Let me read the book on this. You may seem in need of help. You may seem in need of help to people who actually have an agenda at the moment. People around you are acting like experts and supporting each other in the group mindset and wanting you to join them for your own good, despite your misgivings. They either do not have fully formed identities or they are too easily taken on the beliefs and ideas of a powerful other. You may be asked to join with others in their beliefs and be alarmed at a mindset and belief system that seems very blank and faceless, devoid of human joy and warmth. It is wise for you to keep your own counsel, remain detached, and wait for the faceless ones to reveal themselves. They will change when an even more powerful person for them to attach to comes along. Know that until they find their own selves and commit to following that path, they will be as blank pages, written upon by whatever hand comes near them. Do not be like this. Make your own mark on this world. There could be imitation taking place where your work and ideas and even your personality are being copied too closely. I see this as also seeing the fakeness around you with the veil coming down. So you're going to see this in the people around you, but also be very careful too, because people are going to be watching you during this time, either naysayers who are still watching you or people who are even mentors or who agree or kind of, trying to ride your wave, which is great in a healthy way, but you're going to have people really watching you. And I know that from my own journey. So I think this is one of those things of really go in, do the work, find your own truth, not what other truths that people are putting out. Because yes, other people's journeys are helpful, but everybody's is different. Find yours and speak yours and live yours. You will be finding your own boundaries and ways too, which just make sure you have your boundaries in place. Make sure you know who you are. I mean, if you look, there's sticks and trees all over the place, like, laying down boundaries, and there's just a bunch of fake people around her. So your veil is probably going to be coming down, and as you start to pull your boundaries and put your boundaries in place and pull yourself back from the people around you, you might have been in some very codependent situations. You're going to have people really watching you, trying to stop you, take your stuff. Don't become paranoid about it. Just have your own boundaries and know who you are and what you're doing. Do the shadow work, go within, and take this blessing of ascension, even though it might be scary at times, and use this to help and give back. That's what Tauruses are for. That's why they are the Hierophant card, but they are also there to manifest the spiritual realm into the physical world. So use those abilities to help others and create abundance back for yourself. And through helping others, it will also continue to help heal you through this process, to heal these, swords you feel in you, and help heal your heart. And it will bring you around back full circle in a very healing way. You will be creating new, and all this will bring you emotional abundance and strength. Just don't become discouraged by people around you, because I know what I'm kind of getting from this too is, like, as I went through my spiritual process, you start to see a lot of fake people around you. And sometimes you even lose some of the people around you and people that held dear, and it can be quite lonely. You can feel lonely. Like sometimes you have to lose people to make room for your new soul family and who matches you then and your current beliefs. And again, if you add 4 plus 3, that's 7. That's a very divine number. This is for divine purposes and being divinely guided. And you're entering into a new phase in your life. So trust, by putting your boundaries down and standing up for who you are, that people may be removed, and that makes room for people who are now aligned with you. And they'll be removed permanently, or they will be removed temporarily, and maybe they'll end up going through something that aligns them back up with you. But don't have expectations for that. That just trust that who's supposed to be there will, and who won't be there won't. If they fall away, they fall away, and just better and more emotionally fulfilling people, situations, or things are coming. So don't be too freaked out by seeing people's masks come off. Don't even be too freaked out if you see your own mask come off. It happens, and you figure things out. The veil doesn't just come out in the world around you. The veil comes down within you as well. It is the mirror of the universe, so it is going to, of course, happen that way, and it matches the Scorpio energy. So again, don't be scared of that shadow work. Go inside, integrate. Like I said, you're already doing this work, or you're about to, and don't be scared of it. Work on your chakras, meditate, work on integrating, do shadow work, see what relationships are mirroring you, what triggers you have. Just really do the work. I'm going to move on for the sake of time, but if you need help with this, comment to me. Let me know what's going on with your situation, and I'll try to comment and see if I can help or give some advice in some ways. But you're either ascending, or you're going to be, and you've been going through stuff, or you are going to be. Many Tauruses already have. So just like, if you look at her, like, among all this chaos and this darkness, she looks actually pretty confident. Like, she's like, yeah, that's right. And she's not even fazed by them. Like, they're looking at her like, what are you doing? What's going on? What do you think? Why do you think that? That's dumb. And she's like, I'm not even focusing on you. I'm not even fazed by you. I'm on my own mission and my own path and my own truth-seeking journey. And I'm going to be bringing that forth. So, maybe even during this time, don't become paranoid about it, but maybe go into a hermit mode. Kind of seclude yourself just a little bit, enough so you can do the reflection and the internal work. Kind of like, I don't know if you've ever heard of, like, lobsters. Their shell gets tighter and tighter. It pushes them to know when to grow. So as they're growing, their shell gets tighter and tighter, and as it gets too tight, it becomes very uncomfortable, and they go under a rock to shed their shell. And while they've shed it and they're vulnerable, they stay under the rock until they've grown a new, bigger shell, and then they come out into the world. So while you're growing your new shell and you know who you are and your new truth, maybe kind of give that time to self-reflect and protect yourself while you're in a more vulnerable state. So it will not only protect the people around you from you, like, going buck wild and your mind being all over the place, but also protecting yourself from these people who are wearing a mask and they may not be the healthiest for you. But just know that while you're feeling this pressure and all these things are going on, and that it's uncomfortable for you, it's just you shedding your shell into your bigger one, and you being emotionally and spiritually more evolved and in who you are and in your path and your journey. So again, trust in the process. You have emotional fulfillment coming your way. and you will have strength and guidance during the process. Everybody has strength and guidance, and it's all for your best. Balancing's out, your truth, the veil coming down, you're being nurtured, and so you can see. Trust the process, Taurus. Trust it. Okay, hopefully I have enough time for all this. I'm going to go into Virgo because this has taken a lot longer. Virgo has... You have a lot of like your main cards. You have the Wheel of Fortune. So you might be dealing with some karma type things, lessons, things either turning in your favor or things are up in the air. If you've been doing good on the karma scale, it's going to work in your favor. If not, I don't know, chances are it might not for you. But if you look at her, she's like, it's all about her. Like, she's like me. Like, I believe your karma or your lesson in whatever situation you're going through is very much about have you learned the lesson of taking care of yourself, of remembering about yourself, and about self-love, self-care. What is best for me? What do I really want? Not in a selfish way, but in a what is right for me and what is loving to myself way, because you can't really be there for anybody else either if you're not being there for yourself. There's also pink around this, so this is also about like healing. Maybe through learning that self-love, you have healing. In this situation, I feel like you've really been waiting on something. If you look, there's trees and they're sprouting leaves, and there's the root. So it's kind of like, and then you have these rings. Like, you have a lot of things pertaining to patterns. So I feel like you're having to deal and learn karmic lessons of patterns that you've probably been dealing with in your life, maybe your whole life. But this person has been nurturing a situation, trying to make it grow, something that has roots. So it might even be from back when, but you're trying to wait on it or make a decision. Which way do I want to go with this? Do I want to nurture it? Or do I almost want to like starve the roots and let it go? Or do I want to nurture the roots and let it continue to grow? And you're really waiting for like time to see. And I think you're really just mentally moving on. And if you look, there's leaves where he's going. So whatever you're doing, you know, you're moving into a nurturing. There's light, there's sun coming in, there's leaves. There is a change of season, but I think you're moving into something good, and you're moving on, or you need to move on from being trapped in your head. And again, you have another thing that signifies cycles, patterns. There is emotional loss, but it's something that might be maybe emotional for you. But maybe you have this pattern of just going around and around and nurturing things that have you all in your head and that end up leaving you regretful and remorseful. And it's because you didn't really take care of you at the end of the day and balance things out. And you have the Six of Swords of moving on and balance and moving to calmer waters from being in your head and something that's been emotional for you, and moving into something where you know what you want, you're confident, you know what you're doing. Look, this guy has been taking care of himself. He for sure takes care of himself. There's no doubt about that. It's weird because there's the Emperor. You also have the Empress. So you have two things signifying taking care of yourself and being nurturing to yourself. Also, you know, making good decisions and knowing what to do. But you might this might also be in a relationship because you have the Empress and the Emperor. But either way, all of these signify being in your power, remembering yourself, but self-love and knowing what you want to do. Whatever pattern has been going on, whether it's a lack of self-love or over-nurturing a situation or just being in your head, which makes sense for Virgos, your lesson here really is to break a pattern. And it doesn't mean to not be in the situation. It'll either be not to be in the situation, or it'll be what pattern are you bringing to these situations? What pattern is this situation has been brought back to you, brought back to your life to show you a pattern. Have you fixed it, or are you going to use this situation to fix it? And like I said, not everything you have to get rid of to deal with the pattern or to learn the lesson. You can learn that lesson within that situation. You will know what is best for you. You do have the Tower card. You have the Eight of Wands. And you have the Empress. So, yes, part of this does look like the end of a situation. You could be cutting things down or removing things from your life and being like, this just is not good for me. You might have to remove yourself from it permanently or temporarily until you find that balance and things are good for you. Or it could just be removing an aspect, ending an aspect, and removing that aspect or pattern for the betterment of you. Or it could literally be the ending permanently or just of a structure to rebuild. It could be rebuilt or permanently, and you're cutting it down. There could be communication. You could be taking action. You could have received communication and you didn't like something, or giving communication, and you're just cutting it all down completely, or your pattern. One or the other. She looks pretty mad though. I mean, because if you look, let me see if I can do it. Like, the Empress is kind of looking back behind her, like she left it behind, and is like, I'm growing, I'm focusing on what's best for me. Like, she's just looking at it like, ugh, with like a sour face. And she's got something else that attached to her that's growing and growing into something beautiful that she loves. So it seems like either you let go of a pattern that wasn't working for you, or you let go of a situation that wasn't working for you. And it could be with either a partner, because you have the Emperor and the Empress, and I think she might have just figured it wasn't good for her. Or if you look too, I mean, it might be something that she's nurturing that's good for her, or it could have been something too, like this thing is kind of on her like a parasite. So maybe it was just something that was just sucking her energy and just not good for her. It almost seemed just like kind of like a parasitic situation. I think there's something else that kind of shows that too. But your advice and all that is focus on a creative venture, focus on your money, ground yourself. Like, look at all this earth that's around that they're focusing on. Ground yourself, go outside, walk in nature, barefooted, meditate, but ground yourself. Focus on, maybe your job, creative ventures, something else that can take your mind off this. Give back, focus on balance, giving and taking. But again, creative ventures, maybe your finances, to get out of your head a little bit. Virgos love focusing on their finances. Focus on helping others, to give back, because through helping others, it helps heal you. And when you can get your mind off things, it'll help you get in your intuition, and that will guide you as what to do. And maybe either completely move on from a situation to calmer waters, or at the very least mentally. Take whatever thoughts serve you best and leave the ones that don't. If you look at the bottom of your cards, or I'm mostly going to use this for you because I felt like it mostly applied to Virgos. Anyone else, though, that can apply it to you. This is something that's really, this is a spiritual lesson for you. There's really a lot on your shoulders about it. It's about speaking your truth. Standing up for yourself. What is best for you? How do you feel? No matter what. Get out of your head about it. Know what you want, and manifest things as you want them to be. Not as someone else wants them to be, or what's best for someone else. Try to collaborate, make it for everybody, but speak your truth. I mean, look, he's got the throat chakra. He's got the third eye up there with the purple. This is the same round thing the Emperor almost had. Don't lie to yourself about the situation. Don't try to deceive yourself and make it something other than it is, or get in your head about it with the Seven of Swords. Like you have the Six of Swords. Lose that sword that is deceiving you and only take the thoughts that you need. You know, have patience. Lay your seeds of what you do want by speaking your truth and work on that and move forward. Eight of Pentacles. Don't be left out in the cold. Don't worry about how things aren't right and aren't working. Go within, see what you want. Write the second half of your book the way you want. Feel victorious. Feel proud. Stand up for what you want and celebrate that to the world. And if somebody else doesn't take that or appreciate that or understand that, they're not meant to be on your path. Speak your truth. Lay your boundaries. It's the best way to know who's supposed to be in your life and who's not. You will bring stability. You have 2-4 of wands. It will bring you stability, a firm foundation. It could be in love or it could just be a head over heart decision. And it might either bring you abundance or you may decide to be on your own and focus on your own abundance and let the universe bring it to you and wait on your ships to come in. You do have the Star card too, and getting what you want and happy things. And again, you have emotional fulfillment as well. The Strength, standing your ground. There are challenges and obstacles within this, but it's about patience. It's about seeing the lessons and letting things unfold naturally. So either this isn't a good situation for you, or you're just really scared and you're having fear-based thoughts, and it's about speaking your truth, laying your boundaries down, and letting it unfold naturally, and letting the universe, source, spirits, your intuition, whatever, show you what's supposed to be there and what's not. You have the Four of Wands in another deck too. You're really kind of trying to create balance and stability, and you're going within to get healing from that. You have the Empress again. You're coming into your truth. Take care of yourself. Communicate and take action as necessary. Stand up for yourself. Get out of your head about how things are going, what's not real. See things as they really are. Don't back away from the situation. And don't run from it. You know, this could be the start of a venture, either creatively or something that could grow to be very sturdy for you. Just use your intuition, whether it's creatively or relation or whatever. Use your intuition. You have the High Priestess, and right after that, you have the Hermit. This is your card, going within, seeking within. Maybe the resurgence of a love, one from the past. Something you've been praying about. What do I do? Here's what you do. You focus on self-love. You focus on the things you love, and you focus on what you want, speaking your truth, and the rest of it unravels as it should. Especially if you take the time and put all these worries down. Get out of your head. Stop worrying. Stop fighting with yourself. What do I want? You're conflicted about it. But I'm telling you, you have a new opportunity, either financially or something that could be long-term. There is also the King of Pentacles, Earth sign. It's going to take some work and some commitment. But there is abundance and a new beginning, a passionate new beginning with the King of Wands. Maybe even one in the past that left you out in the cold, or something that left you with fear-based thoughts. But you do have the Lovers. You could be seen as a head over heart decision. You delivering it. Delivering something you're passionate about, what you think. Maybe there is angry communication. Something about somebody being selfish, greedy, worried about themselves, deceptive thoughts, and ending that. But you do have the Knight of Cups coming back in for you, and the Judgment, the resurgence of it, and the celebration of that. Which probably, I think, brings you healing from heartache in the past. Listen. Queen of Wands says all the same stuff. You have all the same cards in the other deck. Listen. I'm going to pull a card for you real quick, your oracle. Me for Virgo, Scorpio, New Moon 2017. For Virgo, Scorpio, New Moon 2017. Virgo, New Moon, Scorpio 2017. Okay. You miss somebody. So you miss someone. Shallow grave. So this could be, you're really missing somebody. It could either be somebody you're in a relationship with, somebody you've either separated with. It could be somebody who's passed over, and they could be guiding you through this situation. But you're really missing somebody, whether they're here in the physical realm or whether they have already passed over. If you look, there's like a skeleton. There's butterflies. I think you're transforming. I think somebody is also transformed to the other side. But I think you're really missing somebody physically and or somebody who's spiritually passed over, and maybe that's bringing sadness in you, or you don't fully know what to do. It's something very emotional. Your, emotions are really, I don't know, shallow grave, like beneath the surface. Maybe you're trying not to show anybody, or you just don't know what to do. Maybe you're even trying to pray or talk to people who have passed over that are spirit guides for you, to pray about, somebody you're missing in a physical situation, like on an earthly realm, or even a situation that you don't know what to do, but you're really missing them. And I feel like this situation is really hard on you because you don't know what to do, and it could also be somebody who's focusing on something that has ended or should end, or maybe it has ended and they're just too focused on that. Either way, this girl is more focused on something else and not herself. And they have transformed, or some other situation has ended and transformed, or somebody has passed and transformed. But she's having a hard time transforming herself. Again, I see with her stockings almost like patterns, patterns. There is a pattern that needs to be transformed in your life, and I think it's a very hard one for you to learn. And I think it's about self-love, going in and integrating and focusing on yourself and rising above. The best way for this situation and to know what to do is to focus on yourself. Self-love. Love yourself and let that mirror in the world around you. Either end a situation or know by showing self-love and mirroring that, the world will mirror and unfold properly as it should be in the world around you. Hey Virgo, I just wanted to say a couple more things because the camera shut off early before. I have two things to say that I think might help you. One is, yes, there's self-love, but, how you had the Six of Pentacles and balance as your advice card. Don't give more than you're receiving. Don't ever give more than you're receiving. So that's another thing that could help you in any situation. If you find that you match what you're being given. So if a situation is requiring a certain level of energy from you, give to it what it's giving to you. You can either match it exactly, or if, say, a situation or a person goes above and beyond for you, then go above and beyond for them. If they only go so far, then you only go so far. And if that just doesn't sit right and doesn't feel good to you and you're not centered with that, it's not right, then you know what to do and you know what's best for you. That will also help for, because I did get a couple other cards about this kind of feeling like a parasitic type situation. It's kind of draining your energy. And first of all, what would be good for you is to ask yourself, is this really a parasitic situation, or am I making this a parasitic situation? Are my patterns making this a parasitic situation? Is my overthinking, my not giving self-love, my not feeding myself energy back and bringing things back to make me feel good, my over nurturing and over caring side and wanting to just a situation and I'll take care of you, I got it all, don't you worry. Earth signs and Virgos, earth signs are just very nurturing signs. So are you putting too much into a situation? Are you overthinking a situation? Are you over energizing a situation to where it is becoming parasitic to you? And if you are, the first thing you have to do is reel that back and see that you're doing it. And not only looking within will show you, is it you, but also you reeling yourself back will see, is it only me? Because if it's the other person kind of being a little manipulative about it or emotionally manipulating things or playing a victim mentality or not wanting to pull their weight, or whatever, they're instantly going to show that as soon as you pull back. Like if you're like, God, I need a second. I feel drained. I need to focus on this. Just you instantly pulling back to meet that energy. And if you've been the one over giving for a while, that means completely pulling back for a minute. Not all parasitic situations are because of the other person. And I am not at all saying that it's not the other person or the other situation or whatever it is. You have clearly a thing of balance of having to figure out here mentally and energetically wise. And that may be your pattern. And yeah, you can, I love myself, I'm doing this or that. And through self-love, you are going to realize, those balancing acts. But self-love also shows as, I'm going to mirror to you what you are to me. I'm going to energetically put in what you or the thing gives to you. That is also self-love, is placing boundaries, knowing what's right for you, knowing and being realistic with yourself and others on how much you can give versus how much you can't give. Because you have your cards that show is like you working on something that, you are passionate about and is emotionally fulfilling, or at least it was, and there being a resurgence of that, or at one time there was. But you do have like this Knight of Wands where you see almost a sexual energy, but it's a flea, it's a parasite, and there being an ending to the situation. I think this might almost be a past. Like in the past, there was a commitment to something that you did have passion about. It did bring emotional fulfillment. And there was almost a judgment or an ending to it due to the situation, either in the past being or now being some type of sexual energy or parasitic, not good. There being ending to it and juggling. Or this could be now something that you're working on, and maybe part of you is really trying to make a judgment call because you're wondering whether it is not good for you or toxic and you need to put an end to it, and you're really trying to make a decision about, like this person's planting garlic bulbs. So taking something they have and can they make it grow? Can I make this grow? What decision do I go with this? Is this something that can grow and be long lasting for me? And you're trying to kind of take a step back and see it from a different perspective about something or some situation that might be seen as, it might have some hard things coming along with it, like baggage, if you will. I don't know a better way to put that, but things that may not be like, yay, firsthand. Like this isn't completely ideal, but it comes with the situation or the person. And you're trying to mentally move forward and see what is your truth and how do you go with it, because you've just really been in your head and you don't know whether to offer love or not. or someone's offering you love and you're trying to see what your truth is. And the person, I mean, they could truly not be that great or be parasitic, but you, again, you have the Emperor, you know, and there's the Empress. And this person, if you look at him, is just like, you know, they just kind of have this, could be egoic or harsh personality to deal with at times, or just worried about themselves, or could come across that way. And you're just trying to gain stability. But there is like a Seven of Swords energy here. But if you look, this is almost like self-deception. Like nobody is putting the sword down this person's throat except for themselves. What are you doing to yourself that you're needing balance from? And there is emotional manipulation though. And then you have the Nine of Swords, the Ten of Swords, being in your head about it. So in your head about it that you can't speak or make a move. You're just stuck. You don't know what to do. You're all armored up and guarded. You're trying to find your way out. And either you make a fast movement and maybe decide to be single on your own. And find your way out of a kind of a dangerous situation and being left out in the cold. Or you wonder if that's what you should do. I just feel like no matter what the situation is, whether it's something that's good or bad for you, your lesson in all this, and I know I'm beating a dead horse and I promise I'm about done, but is really to just find your truth in what's best for you. Take your time with it. Look within. Focus on things you love at the moment. Relax, sit back. Take some breaths. Focus on your breathing, maybe even. Look up, breathing meditations. Focus on your breathing during meditation. Focus on things you love in your career or creative ventures. And find your truth in knowing what to do. This situation could either be something that's good for you, or it could be bad. And I know that's like, well, duh, Candace. But what I'm trying to say is there may be a chance that how this situation goes depends on what you do. What lesson have you learned, and what are you bringing to the table? How are you leading by example, and what mirror and face are you presenting to this person or situation? It might just be something that has to be removed, period. And that might be something for you to learn and to know that, you can't be misnurture or fix it all the time. And sometimes you have to let things go, and you realize that through self-love. Or it might be something that you realize, is there something in you or a pattern in you that is making this the way it is? Is this situation mirroring something in you? Is it that bad because of what you're doing or what you're thinking or how in your head you're becoming? Are you bringing that type of energy to this relationship or situation? If you're bringing such worrisome and negative energy, and negative not meaning you're a negative person, but a fear-based energy, how do you expect something beautiful and harmonious and stable to come from a situation that you are bringing fear-based thoughts and negative thoughts and unstable thoughts to it? How is a person going to realize what they're doing if you're also meeting them with that energy? How is somebody also going to lead by example? And no, it's not your responsibility to lead people to change. But how are you really going to see the situation really for what it is if you're not bringing balanced energy to it? how are you supposed to share that gift of a mirror of balance if you are bringing a mirror of fear and imbalance? If you possibly want this situation to go forth, your best chance of making this work is by you bringing that mirror of balance and allowing them to see that and making that choice for themselves to rise to the occasion. If they don't, they will fall away, and the universe has taken care of this for you. But that can't be done if you're also bringing a mirror that just shows imbalance and fear. You're going to be met just as much with it, and you're going to be in your head. And the thing about it is, you're almost creating the situation's demise anyways. You might as well just end it. Or to really know, so that you know what really was supposed to happen and you learned your lesson, do the work, go within, focus on releasing those patterns, do whatever you have to do to release those patterns and get yourself in a higher vibration of thoughts, frequencies, and energies. If you have to take a break for a minute, say you have to take a break for a minute. If you have to focus on something you love or some hobby of yours or some money-making venture, then do that. If you have to go for a walk or meditate or get your nails done or get your hair done or, I don't know, what is it a guy would want to do? Go play a video game or go play a sport or hang out with your guy friends or whatever it is. Go see a movie, go out to dinner, read a book, I don't know, whatever makes you feel good. Then do that to rebalance yourself. And if that person's like, no, they fall away. Bring the gift of a balanced mirror. Because if you have even that smallest part of you, which if you're going through all this turmoil, some part of you is like, I really want this. I just don't know if it's good for me, but I want it. I hope it is. I wish it was. I think it is. I don't know. You're going to doom it. It might be doomed also in another way, but the best chance you have not only to see what is supposed to happen, but to give this situation the best chance it could have. Whatever it is, apply it to your life as you see fit. And again, this is a general reading. It's not going to apply to everybody. It's going to reach whoever it's supposed to reach. But it's by you bringing the gift of a balanced mirror. Balance yourself. Bring yourself to the table. Lead by example, so that person can be like, whoa, okay, here's her boundaries. I want to be here. This is what I want. I now know because she's telling me what she wants. There's no assuming anymore. There's no going off what you know and unspoken truths and all this stuff. Lay your boundaries down. Say what you want. Lead by example. Let that person make an educated decision about, here's what I want. Here's what this person wants. Can we meet here? If they're here and you're here, or you're here and they're here, can we rise to be here? And the only way you're going to do that is by speaking your truth, being there, being present, knowing what you want, sharing that and showing your boundaries. And letting the other person, whether it's you or the other person, whether I have this reversed, I don't know. But let the person and you guys know what's up between you so that you guys can make an educated decision about moving forward and what's best. And do I want to also do the work to rise up? Not misunderstanding or assuming what somebody's doing. Maybe they're doing something or you're doing something that they don't know what's going on, or they're doing something and you're misreading it. Because nobody's saying what's going on, or nobody's bringing that truth or just saying what's in their power and what they can't do. And if there's something you can't do, but you just want to be so nurturing, but you're like, I can't really do this, like I'm going to fall apart, say that. Tell them what you can bring to the table. Tell them what you want out of this. bring self-love for yourself. A relationship where one person has it and the other doesn't, it's not going to work. Where one person is giving and the other isn't, it doesn't work. You both have to be here. I see you. You know, what is that, like Pandora? Avatar. I see you. Do you see each other? Do you see each other's needs? Are you leading by example? Are you like, wow, this person is parasitic, they're draining my energy, but only you can give something meaning. Only you can allow something to happen to you. If your energy is being depleted, guess whose fault that is? Yours. Because either A, you're keeping yourself there for some reason, or B, because you're doing it to yourself due to a fear-based thought and a pattern that needs to be let go of. Maybe this is also a part of you that needs to die and transform. Let it happen. Go within and do the work and see what patterns need to let go of, what you need to let go of. It might truly not be that great of a situation for you, but I also kind of get this vibe that you might be creating your own parasitic situations, either by allowing them in or by just creating them in your own head and your own energy field, and by having negative subconscious thoughts. There's this I think if you look up this guided meditation, he's a popular guy, but it's a guided meditation for releasing negative subconscious thoughts or something. It's like Michael Healy or Michael something. It's a very good meditation for that, but it seems like there are some root chakra, maybe even look up yoga or yoga poses that focus on the root chakra. There seems like there are some negative or fear-based patterns that you have to release. And this is either a lesson in your life, this situation that is presented to show you that, or this is something to help transform that, and then you can have emotional stability within this situation. But also don't give more than what you're receiving. Match what you're receiving. Thank you guys for this. I love you very much. I hope this helps, whether it's a portion or all of this. I'm still in the middle of going through my own spiritual journey and awakening, and this has really helped me, and I'm trying to give back and take a chance by doing this. I left from what I was doing as a job and trying to make this as a career because I really want to give back and I really want to help others. Sometimes this journey is lonely and you don't always have help or people there to talk to or understand. And there have been a lot of people who have been giving back on YouTube that I don't think I'd be where I am or as far as I am right now today if it wasn't for those people. So I want to give back to, and there's other journeys and other things I do want to do and other things, ventures I want to go with this. But comment, tell me what you think. I hope this helps. Maybe tell me your situations, how this applies. If it doesn't, maybe a personal reading will, maybe the next one will. This isn't really a regular general reading. This is just based off the new moon and things to release. So normally it will be each individual sign that I'll do, but comment below. My information will be there on prices or donations if you want. None are absolutely not needed. This is purely to help heal myself, heal my own heart, and to give back, and for my soul journey and mission, and to hopefully help as many people as I can, and for those who are supposed to get the messages to receive them. Share this video to somebody if it applies or you think it'll help them. But thank you so much for everything, and I love you guys, and there will be more coming. I hope you guys are having a good November, had a great full moon in Taurus, and a good and hopefully calm new moon in Scorpio. Trust the process, though, and ride the wave. I'll see you next time.